Let's do it.
This episode is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, all you got to do is head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Do it!
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 157 for August 16th, 2013. You're watching Gamebreaker. I'm Gary Gannon, and coming up on today's show, who needs a mini-map? ElderScrolls Online apparently doesn't. Grand Theft Auto is going online, and Black Gold's business model is hilarious. We've got a little bit more chatter for some Final Fantasy and Hearthstone stuff as well. Final Fantasy XIV beta kicked off today. Burn needs to get the hell out of here, so Shutterstock, Audible, see you later.
Twitters and just you know where we're at.
Joining us as always, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
Oh, we're doing it? Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm great. I'm glad to know that there's actually someone else in the world who played the 24 trading card game. All that work wasn't for nothing.
I don't even know what that is. Is that like the television show 24?
Yeah, it was based on the television show.
Shut up. You guys played that? Wow.
I designed it, actually, but that's another story altogether.
Yeah. Wow. You designed it and Byrne played it. They're like long-lost brothers. Hugs.
No hugging? No hugging.
Michael Byrne joining us as well. Do you have a Final Fantasy shirt for every day of the week? Just wondering.
I gotta buy one more. One more. I got six.
We'll have to get you one more. Okay,
six.
so we're gonna have to get you one more to fill that wardrobe out. You need to finish that wardrobe. All right, so first up, really quick before we get into everything, lots of big stuff happened today. Kind of a crazy day as far as like things launching and stuff. First up, Final Fantasy XIV beta phase 4 is live. Woo. Mr. Byrne, you have been up since 4:45 a.m.
Yes, Eastern time.
With your blankie.
I do, in fact, have my blankie right here because the first couple of hours were a little chilly, and there were some cutscenes I had seen before, so I got comfortable.
First up, where are you at this point in time?
Thaumaturge was just about to ding 19 before I shut it down to do the show. So we'll say 19. Yeah.
You're not even on your second character yet?
I don't know. Gonna do Thal, and then gonna jump over to Pugilist, get that to 20, so I'll be in a good position for Black Mage come early access, and then I'll just spend the rest of the beta crafting.
What are the big, just kind of, we have a show for Final Fantasy, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I do want to talk about, like, hey, since it launched today, what are the big updates for Phase 4 that people should look out for from Phase 3?
If you were in Phase 3, visually, there's a lot going on. A lot of ease of use things and some additional graphical things. So you've got all the weather implemented. That's pretty cool. Up until now, we've just had rain. And then there's a lot of ease of or quality of life type changes that they've implemented as far as what you get for different quest rewards, when you can do certain things. There's a helper to kind of a quest helper type add-on, except it's in the game to kind of guide you if you're new to MMOs and you lose your way. There's quite a bit to make your life just a little bit easier. Content-wise, some of the cutscenes have been fleshed out and the voice acting added to some of the main story ones, so there are some presentational tweaks too. Pretty substantial patch notes. Check that out on XIV Nation. You'll get the whole breakdown there.
And I hear there's even a specialty Jason Winter Deliver Pretzels quest.
There is. I thought of Mr. Winter when I did that this morning, because Mr. Winter and I have had discussions on Twitter and on this show about being a hero and what games do it well, what games don't. And I thought
that was your point,
passing
right?
out
right
a
there?
pretzel
when
to
you hand out
4
pretzels, yeah.
NPCs is definitely a hero caliber quest that Mr. Winter would approve
Because
of.
what you don't realize is Paul Revere didn't just go around warning everybody about the British. He also handed out pretzels at every stop.
Exactly.
So very
exactly.
heroic to hand out pretzels.
People got
That's why everybody remembers him.
Not because of the 1 by line 2 by sea,
No.
but the hot buttery pretzels. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
How's the beta phase 4 been rolling technically? So servers staying up, all that stuff, all good?
Yeah. For the most part, I personally haven't had any problems. I logged in at like 2 minutes to 5. I immediately got on. I immediately got my character out of the benchmark and into the game, and I was the only one there for a good 10 minutes or so, because there were some stutters on the starting of the server, so some people had some issues getting into the North American servers right away. And since then, they've done a rotating character creation where they'll lock a group of servers for anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes-ish, and you can't create a character on those servers. So if you're waiting for a specific server, you've got to kind of keep refreshing. But it's a nice way, I guess, of them load balancing out people that weren't looking for a particular server, they just wanted to play. It's kind of a pain in the butt for people that knew exactly what server they wanted, so they have to refresh a little bit. A couple technical things like that. All in all, not too bad so far, although this isn't the big test for the servers. It was substantial in size, but tomorrow's going to be the big one, because today was limited to the Phase 3 beta testers, the version 1.0 players, those people that have already had some time. Tomorrow's when the floodgates open for anybody that registered and got a code for open beta. That's going to be the interesting tech side one to watch.
What would you say? Because I mean, we do XIV Reborn, which is an all Final Fantasy show on xivnation.com. We know everybody there is playing Final Fantasy 14 and loves it. I think people watching this show maybe still just hearing about it. I actually saw right before the show started, people in chat kind of asking some questions about it. So again, maybe for some people who are on the fence and stuff who haven't really been paying too much attention to it, what do you think? Besides, obviously, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, right? That's a big selling point right then and there is the world. Yep. But besides that, what would you encourage people to go and check it out? And like, what's the big selling point besides it being a Final Fantasy franchise?
I would, but the problem here is that it is a buy the box and a sub-base game, and so that's a pretty big hurdle for somebody that's on the fence to decide they want to make that jump. Yeah, you get 30 days free, but you also had to buy the box to get that 30 days free anyway. Like you said, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, it's a no-brainer. Even if you were disappointed with version 1.0, it's definitely worth jumping in to check it out. No question. If you're an MMO player in general, I'll be honest with you, like I have in all the writing that I've put up, and tell you it's not doing anything groundbreaking. It isn't. But it does all the traditional things well. The questing is very easy. You don't have any of that stuff. The environments are gorgeous. The storyline, obviously, Final Fantasy-wise, the storyline is very good. So if you're into more traditional MMOs, things like World of Warcraft, that style of gameplay, and you want to check it out in a different universe, there's definitely something there for you. If you're looking for the next big new thing you've never seen before in an MMO and you just can't wait to check it out, this isn't the game for you. Save your money for something else.
Yeah, and I mean, people on this show who've been watching for years remember the box, so... they know my feelings on the original Final Fantasy 1.0. Well, I gotta say, like, my experience so far, which has been limited, maybe to about, like, I think I leveled to about, like, level 12. Super solid. Like, I mean, it's only level 12. Again, I still don't think you can kind of judge everything by that. I think until you get to at least, like, maybe 30, 40, hopefully that range, you can kind of really feel it out. But I was blown away by how much they've changed, because it's not even the same game. It's like you might as well just throw everything you ever knew about 1.0 out and just like try to just forget it, because it doesn't play like the old game. It's not set up like the old game. The UI is not like the old, like it is a complete. If it didn't have that engine and like they used the art assets, and obviously it wasn't Final Fantasy, it's like you might as well have just called it, like, 26.
Yeah, it could have been any other IP as well without the world there. Jason, what about you? I mean, you did get some hands-on time with it. You've generally not been positive before your hands-on time, but it was because it was more traditional. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it still is traditional. It still is certainly your standard DPS, tank, trinity, healing. We talk about how the skills progression is, so, but it's not bad. It certainly is. I played like 7-8 hours in the beta. I got like level 15, did some of the group stuff. And it was fun enough to play. Yeah, it's not awe-inspiring, except in appearance. It looks really, really incredible. And that was before they got all the different weather systems in. But yeah, I mean, it's solid. It's not something to be ridiculed, at least, like the first one was. Yeah, it's not. No, well, it was. Yeah, it's decent. It's playable. Again, it feels a little old school. Like if this had come out in like 2008, I think it could have been really big. But it does lose something when compared to the more modern advances that MMOs have made in the last couple of years. And to that extent, it does feel a little old-fashioned. But if that's what you're looking for, then
What do you think, Jason? What do you think? Like, can you like give me some examples of what felt sort of like a little bit old school that you feel is like a little bit lacking?
Like we said, I mean, a lot of the quests are pretzel running, or some other sort of go out, kill 10 things, come back. I mean, you do get the fate events popping up every now and then, but they're kind of limited. And after you do one once or twice, you're kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna move on to the next one. Of course, class roles seem to be pretty rigid. It's just it feels like an MMO in terms of the structure of the questing and then the going around quests and so on, and the classes. That does feel a little old when you're used to newer things, whether it's Guild Wars 2 or even like the Secret World or Rift or something like that, which allows you a lot of variety in your quest and in your character development and structure. It feels a little old-fashioned compared to those.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think we're all saying on the same page. It's just like it's not unbelievably groundbreaking, but I actually think that might be a positive, especially from where this came from. Right? I mean, this thing was risen out of the ashes of shit. So like this is amazing that this game is, and I'm amazed the popularity of it and the fan base and everybody is so hyped up for it. And people, I mean, we were just checking out on Twitch before this, and like you're not allowed to stream it. And there's a girl on there streaming screenshots of her gameplay, and she's got 500 people watching. Like people are just like super on top of this and excited for it, which is pretty amazing. That I don't think we've ever seen an MMO come back from a situation like this.
I will admit, I glanced at your show a couple days ago, and I was like, "It has how many viewers? Really?"
We had close to close to 3,000 viewers on the first show. It was no, and I said it really early on, was that if anyone can ever pull this off, like actually getting a second chance at just winning the hearts of gamers back, it's going to be Final Fantasy, because the core players love the world and the IP. Like that's the main thing. And I'm gonna blow smoke up their ass right now on the xivnation.com forums, but holy crap, I don't know if I've ever seen a nicer group of people. Now I'm gonna get trolled like crazy, but I'm not even joking. Like we launched it, and I'm like, I'm used to we're used to like forums with gamers on them, like not people all being that positive and friendly, and it's just like it's almost nauseating how nice people are. They're like, nice to meet you. Here's a cute picture of a cat. It's like, what? You guys are awesome. So honestly, it's like the best community. Like not the best community. The Game Breaker community is awesome across the board, and you guys are just amazing. We're gonna keep that up, but it's kind of flooring me how cool the whole Final Fantasy 14 community actually is. So you guys are awesome. Anyway,
they're good people. They're good people.
Seriously, go into the newcomer section, and you're just like, this is insane. Like somebody says hello, and like 30 people are just like sending them cat pictures and hello, and it's kind of awesome.
They're not cats, they're Mikote.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about cats, like real cats.
Actual cats.
And we call them Julies now. If you watch XIV Reborn, we call them Julies.
Julies?
Yes, because everybody was pronouncing Mikote and Mikote different ways, so chat decided we will refer to them as Julies.
Okay. All right, but this is this week in MMO. Let's go talk about some other stuff. Not going to spend too much time on it. Just wanted to mention it's not really an MMO, but I think we're going to be covering it more and more. Hearthstone beta launched today. Blizzard's TCG. You guys are obviously, you're huge TCG fans with, the top players of 24 over here, creator and top player, the one player. You got the creator and the one person who played it.
We were the top 2 out of 4, and the other 2 were just people we had around that we used for testing.
Are you guys excited for Hearthstone? I mean, what are you thinking? Especially the fact that it's Blizzard and like tying into the World of Warcraft universe and all that.
Yeah, in general, yeah. I mean, I'm a really big TCG guy, but in real life. I played Magic the Gathering for years and years and years, back when it was alpha, beta, and revised, and I still have all my damn cards here somewhere. But all those games, Spellfire, everything was all in real life. I never really... See? Just, let me pick that name I dropped up here.
Oh, Spellfire.
But I've never really been drawn or addicted to one that was online. I think Might and Magic came close. It's fun to play now and then. I think Blizzard really has the opportunity to do it well, and I'm really looking forward to jumping in. I just got it installed, but it's gonna have to wait Monday.
Yeah, I just got it installed as well. I think what's going to be really interesting to see is what the tie-in's going to be to their properties. I got to believe there's going to be like major World of Warcraft tie-ins and things like that, how they connect this. So that is going to be interesting. And Hearth Nation? Anyone? HearthNation.com? Anyone? Yep. All right. So, Jason, you're a big TCG fan. Are you excited about playing an online TCG from Blizzard?
Well, it's no 24. But apart from that, I mean, it looks decent. I sort of do get the feeling, almost the Final Fantasy XIV kind of feeling. It looks solid. It looks good. CCGs, they have not been innovative for a long time. I don't know that this one really is either. It looks like it'll play pretty well, and if they could leverage that World of Warcraft, player base into this.
How do you? Let me just ask you though. You guys, obviously, you're the creator of the astounding, unbelievable 24. So you obviously have an eye for this that I don't. But how do you gauge the fact that you can sort of feel that it might not be like groundbreaking? Like, how do you really tell from a TCG? Because I got day 9 up here on the screen. He's taking a break right now, but I've been watching it on the big screen. It's like I haven't been able to play it yet. But what are you looking for to kind of see if it's like breaking the mold, or how do you tell just by looking at it?
Well, most TCGs eventually at some point devolve into basically, I have my guy, you have you. One of two things: either I have my avatar, you have your avatar, and they fight each other, or I bring forth my stuff, you bring forth your stuff, and they fight each other. That's what Magic the Gathering is more like. This is more like what we're talking about here is more like, I don't know. I guess Pokemon is a little closer to that, for instance, and a lot of other games as well. So yeah, those are kind of the two templates. Whereas back in like the really original days of CCGs, when there were a lot more different things, like the ones that I worked on, also based on Star Trek and Star Wars. You moved around the galaxy and did all sorts of other crazy stuff, but a lot of that just got really complex. It got really.
I was going to say, it sounds like those were a lot more
rules.
like meta and complex with complex systems and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they simplified a lot, and now it's like I said, it's just kind of that one or two kind of mechanics.
Yeah, and it looks like from what I'm seeing, matches last around maybe like 10 minutes. So it's like, they're not taking like super long time to play them. So I don't know. I'm really excited to play. Is this something?
Those other games
I don't even
take hours.
Should we be covering? I mean, this is a question I'll throw out to the chat. Leave a comment below. Should we cover Hearthstone stuff in TWIMMO? I mean, do we need to make a whole nother show? I don't know. I mean, we are launching Hearth Nation, by the way. So that's happening. But I don't even know. Like, I just brought it up on this show. And I'm just like, or am I just gonna get like yelled at for talking about Hearthstone on TWIMMO because it's not an MMO? I don't know. I mean, it's pretty massive. I would imagine it's online. Only amongst 2 players, but it's not really an MMO. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well,
I would say
today.
no.
Check your inbox. I would say no too. I don't think we're going to cover it as well. I just want to bring it up because it just kind of dropped and I've been watching it all day. So check your inboxes if you guys are looking for codes because a lot of codes went out today. So a lot of people got beta access for the Hearthstone. So keep a lookout and make sure you check your spam folders as well. All right, let's talk about some other MMOs. ZeniMax, yes, the creators of ElderScrolls Online. They answered some more questions this week. First up, one thing I think a lot of people were asking and wondering about was the like glow effect that they had around enemies. Well, you saw this?
That's not just a glow. This is an aura.
I'm trying to. The website's crapping out on me now to bring the picture up. It's not working. So, all right, if you guys haven't seen the picture, I'll keep working on trying to get this up. But yeah, there's like a pretty massive aura. It's down. I got an error 552 connection timed out, so I don't have the screenshot of it. But there was a screenshot like floating around, I guess, from the QuakeCon stream that kind of really showed it off pretty well. And it's not just subtle. It's pretty damn intense. Yeah. Anyway, good news is ZeniMax have confirmed that you will be able to turn off the glow around enemies in the options menu. So I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, options are good. I mean, we heard the same groundbreaking tick boxes. We heard the same complaint about Guild Wars 2 before launch as well. So,
that's
I mean,
right.
definitely, yeah. I mean, if you could see, this website's crapping out on me, so I can't show you the picture, but we'll try and get the pic and put it into the post so you guys can see it after the fact. But it really does stand out. It's pretty crazy.
It was cute how they said too in their description. You notice it in the stream, but you don't really notice as much when you're playing. Oh yeah, I did. Oh, it stood out.
Yeah.
Really?
Next up, this was really interesting. Check this out. They said the compass will replace the minimap. Actually, this is a good example of how we use information from our beta tests. When we had a mini map, we noticed many testers felt like they should just follow the quest markers and they were less inclined to explore. This ran counter to our intent of being a game that emphasizes exploration. When we introduced the compass, players became much more likely to explore and less likely to just follow the quests. So no mini map. Enter the cranky MMO player, Jason Winter. What do you think?
I like it.
Do you really?
I do. I did. When I was that was something I thought about too when I was playing. Well, first of all, because you don't have that in Skyrim, so there's that. You get around just fine. You have the little bar, the compass across the top that'll have an arrow shows you, where you have a quest to go or whatever. So you guide yourself by that, and I like being able to just kind of walk around and just find the stuff as it's there. I do get horribly distracted by that mini map when it's there. I do that all the time, especially if there's like when it shows crafting nodes. I have to look at it every few seconds. I'm like, oh, there's an ore node nearby. I got to go over there. Oh, there's a plant nearby. I got to get that. It's like, damn it, I just want to go, but no, there's stuff here. I got to get that. So yeah, I like it.
Wow, wasn't the answer I expected. I think Jason's turning a corner here. All of a sudden, he's going to be playing EVE Online and shooting people in space. No? Probably not. What do you think, Mr. Byrne?
I dig it. We've talked about this before where, Jason and I at least do come from the same school of we don't want it to be spoon-fed to us. Now it's just a question of to what degree is the spoon-feeding. We've talked about shutting off the icons on the mini-map if we wanted to play that way, and both of us are kind of on board with that's the way we like to play, where we have to explore a little more. We'd like to have at least the options to shut those things off. So I like that they're kind of going in this direction. It just kind of makes me wonder, though, how long until there's a mini-map add-on?
Oh, yeah, that's like day one. Day one, there's a mini-map add-on. But really quick, this is something I want to bring. So,
can you imagine the board meeting? They were like, we need something groundbreaking. Let's take away maps.
Take away the
Take them
mini-map.
away.
I
get rid of them.
I mean, philosophically, I think it's a great idea as well. I think Skyrim fans didn't want it. I love getting lost in the world. I don't like being spoon-fed, exactly where to go. But here's I'm going to bring it back to Final Fantasy XIV really quick. Because in Final Fantasy XIV, are you turning off the glowing? Because that has the go here, sir.
Oh yeah, it's got the neon signs. And no, I leave them on. And I'm not afraid to say that. If you're going to give me the casual option, maybe I'm going to take the casual option. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to play a little hardcore and shut it off.
Then let me ask you, if you like the feeling of kind of that exploration and getting lost a little bit, why wouldn't you just go into that game and shut it off? Just because it's on, you're leaving it on?
Yeah, sure. I just can't. I've had games like that where I could turn off or minimize minimap. Or the only one I still do that in is Lord of the Rings Online. I don't use their quest tracker because that's how it was when it started, and they added it later. But
and half the time it directs you to the wrong place anyway.
Well, sure, yeah.
God,
but yeah,
so weird
otherwise,
with
if it's
stuff like
there, it's so hard for me not to use it.
I'm so weird with stuff like that. I will totally turn that stuff off. Like, I'll totally just turn all that crap off.
I will be more likely to do so if the game will give me the ability to still find my stuff without that. If the quest says go to the second tree, turn right, and there's the monster, it's great. But if it just says go out that way, I need a little more, and maybe that's where the quest.
You're also comparing something like Final Fantasy XIV to what we anticipate ElderScrolls Online is going to be. And when I play each of those games, I'm looking for a different game type experience too. I'm not looking for them to be the same thing. When I jump into Elder Scrolls, I expect to be immersed in this huge world that I'm going to have to explore because I've played those types of Elder Scroll games before. Now I'm going to get the opportunity to do it with some friends. Cool. When I jump into something like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, I'm not expecting that type of gameplay experience. I'm expecting a different type, whether it's going to be PvP or get to a certain goal and then go into raiding or whatever the case may be. It's okay to me to play those two different ways because I'm looking for something different out of those two styles of games anyway.
No, Mike, you're supposed to like one kind of game. Everything else is crap.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. What the hell was I thinking?
What kind of MMO player are you?
Oh.
When Elder Scrolls Online launches, I see a surge of graph paper sales.
I remember doing that back with NES games. Oh my god.
Sitting there, you grab one box equals so much space, and you would draw your dungeon because you're like,
I had Shadowgate. I had Shadowgate on the NES mapped to a T on graph paper back in the day.
Don't you miss those days? But I do really get them not doing a mini map. I think I think it's actually really cool. Yeah, we'll probably see it instantly as an add-on. And like I said, if they're going after the Skyrim players, there's no mini map in Skyrim. There's a compass, so they're definitely going after that crowd. And it kind of, if you remember, Jason, right? This kind of reminds me of the problem that Guild Wars 2 had with hearts and events, right? I mean, people would just go from heart to heart to heart, and they sort of thought that was the content as opposed to just kind of exploring the world. But again, I mean, does just removing the mini map, is that going to solve that? Or because the annoyance factor here is, what if I just have to sit here and press M all the time? And like, I'm just like, M, bring up the full map, M, close the map.
Can I get a transparency, please?
I did find myself doing that a few times when I wanted to get a gauge of distance. Like, it might show me on the compass that, hey, it's the southwest. But I was like, okay, how far am I going to have to schlep out there? Okay, I look at the map, there's a hill in the way, I got to go around that, blah, blah. Okay, so I still find myself doing that even in other games too. It's like as soon as I get a quest in, or get some sort of direction to go to Loach or Guild Wars 2 or WoW or whatever, I'm going to pull up the map and get an idea. Okay, it's way the heck out there. I'm going to do this thing that's closer instead. So,
but that's what I'm saying.
I didn't feel like I was pulling up the map more often. So
that's what I'm afraid of. I mean, the lack of having the mini map, if for some reason the game is kind of set up in a way that I just find myself constantly hitting M a lot more than I want to be, just to kind of like pull up the full map, that's going to be counterintuitive, and that's just going to kind of not be a good experience. So I hope that I'm obviously they're going to take that into consideration.
Don't pull it up. Just go. Explore.
Just go. Just explore.
I'm going to start.
I'm actually playing a Skyrim game, one of my recent games that I started.
Mm-hmm.
My character only looks at the map when he's in the city. Otherwise, I never hit the M button. I just go by the arrows.
Look at you. You RP'er. Look at you. You're just RPing it up. Only going to look at them. Why can't you? Why you can't carry a map? You're like, you can't open up a map.
Wait, what kind of RP is that?
He's an orc. He's an orc. He can't read the map.
Oh, you can't. He's a translator. He has to ask the innkeeper to read the map for directions.
Because I was like, cool. What kind of RP is that where you can only carry a map inside a city?
Here's the really crazy thing that I would almost like to see in an MMO. See, realistically, back in like the old medieval days, maps were really expensive and hard to get. So what if there was an MMO that didn't have a map?
Look at Jason. Where is this coming from? Who are you hanging out with? Because this is not the Jason Winter I know. I feel like 6 months ago I would say something like that, and you would fight me. Modern MMOs don't do it, Gannon. That's why people don't play them anymore. You gotta have maps.
I'm not saying this game would be successful. I'm just saying it would be cool.
I'm not saying
it's a good idea.
She's like, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying it would be cool. I agree. I think that would be really cool. I like making people work for that kind of stuff. I think you're absolutely right. Maps, map making should be like possibly like a sort of a crafting sort of ability for certain people in the game, and they could sell them for insane amounts of money.
But of course, what would happen is someone would put it up on the wiki, and you just have that in another monitor.
But if you're a true RPer, you wouldn't download it. You would block that off. You just wouldn't.
You're really hardcore. You would shut off your monitor.
There you go.
Both of them.
Just turn them all off. Play by sound only.
Use my senses. All right. Other than that, ZeniMax said the first-person mode in particular was just a recent addition to the game. And that improvements would go along in the development process. No surprises there. So let me ask you this, Jason: Would you play the entire game in first person mode if they give you the option? Are you going to do that?
No, I try. Like I said, I tried that, and it's not good when you're facing multiple enemies, and they're doing the MMO type moves of doing.
I know, but back in medieval days, when you swung a sword, you didn't have eyes in the back of your head, so you couldn't really see that other guy or the wolf.
Yeah, and when the wolf hit you once, you were dead. So let's not get too crazy here. In medieval days, they didn't have magic spells either to shoot you with.
They didn't?
No, sorry.
Damn. Burns going to sleep.
I'm just listening. This is awesome.
Another thing we got confirmation on is that instance loot would be random per person, so no shared loot to fight over. That's a good move. That's a modern MMO move.
I hate it.
Modern.
I hate that move.
I
actually don't like that move.
Really?
Yes.
You like fighting over it?
This might sound silly, but that's one of those things that I'm like, well, if this was really happening, and we were in this cave and we just killed this thing, there wouldn't guaranteed be one thing behind this dragon for each of us. He would have collected some things, and maybe we can use them, maybe we can't. So I don't know. It's just a weird little immersion thing of mine.
But you're all
heroes.
Mind.
Yeah,
we're all
exactly.
Heroes.
Everybody's a hero. Everybody's a hero. Here's some soft pretzels.
This is the thing that Scott and I used to bring up all the time about the hero thing. That's what we used to fight over. It's like, I wish they would just stop trying to create the illusion of everyone as a hero. No, just make me some stupid grunt with a shield and a sword, and like make me a part of like the bigger picture. Like, I'm not a hero. Like, stop trying to like, tell me that I am, because I'm not. I think we're like I think we're over the fact of being stupid enough to realize that they can't really do it with thousands of people in the same game.
See, this whole thing where everybody gets loot just reminds me of like it's really big in the States now, where every baseball player in the Little League gets a trophy at the end of the season. No, there's winners, there's losers. Sometimes you roll the one. Sorry, you're out. You're asked out.
Agree.
Queue up again.
I completely agree. ZeniMax also said that they were making sure that they were looking at high frequency content releases. No way. No way. An MMO coming out with content 3 or 4 months in between just ain't going to cut it. What do you think at the time when Elder Scrolls Online comes out, just if you had to throw a ballpark number out there, what do you think is going to be like the norm? I mean, Guild Wars 2 is doing every 2 weeks, which is just like insane. What's Rift doing right now? It's a little slower on their side, right?
Well, yeah, Rift is still riding the free-to-play patch. So 2.3. 2.4 is going to be coming here in a few weeks, and they've teased 3.0, but we're still probably about 8 months or so from that. So
didn't Blizzard a long time, like about a year ago, say they were going to do a lot more frequent stuff too?
They kind of have. I mean, they've ramped up their cadence. They've sped up their patches, and they've definitely kind of, depending on what it used to be. I don't know the exact dates, but yeah, no, everybody's pretty much increased across the board. I think ArenaNet's definitely leading the pack here, but
yeah, but there's a downside to that, and we've kind of talked about this behind the scenes a little bit, Gary. In particular with Guild Wars 2, you, Q, and Justin and I have had some conversations where, yes, they're pushing stuff, but does anybody else feel like every time we're reporting what Guild Wars is pushing, that the news really just doesn't matter? Like, does anybody else get that feeling that the updates are so often and so small because they're so often that it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, there's going to be the Queen's speech and she's going to give you this, or whatever the update is. Do you feel like maybe they're less important because they're coming out that fast?
I mean, it definitely is going to lose some sort of like its flair, right? I mean, like you said, every 2 weeks can't be some big monumental like event announcement. So it's like little slivers of the event now have to be the headline, which, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know, Jason.
But our MMO ADD, we kind of, well, you know what? If it's just going to be small news, I'll go look somewhere else.
Yeah, but I think the point they want to get across, they talked about this too, was they said that when they had like month-long events, they said after the first 2 weeks participation really dropped off. So I think they're less concerned with how does it sound that we're doing this every 2 weeks. What's the buzz about it? And they're looking at and seeing, okay, every 2 weeks people are showing up and doing this stuff. We do a new thing, people are really playing for 2 weeks. We do a new thing, people are really playing for 2 weeks. They would rather have that than necessarily the absolute best PR from it.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is probably that when they're releasing those types of stories really speaks to the players who are consistently playing the game, but not necessarily permeating out to like, new players who hear this like awesome story that then entices them to now go play Guild Wars 2. I think it's very much a communication of like, ArenaNet, 2 players who are still playing and just keeping them constantly, active. I think it's a good strategy, but yeah, it does feel like that a little bit, and especially because, the bigger stuff, the big patches and expansions, like we go through for so long sometimes without any news. So then when they drop like, patch 5.4, cinematic, trailer, this, that, the other thing, you're like, holy crap, this is like huge and awesome. And the story is really pushing forward. So it's just more, just a lot bigger.
Cool. Totally fair point. I've played Guild Wars 2 for a long time, was at level cap and everything, and then I haven't played it in months, and there hasn't been one patch that's made me go, oh, I need to update that and log in. So I was wondering, and to Jason, thank you, because I guess you're dead on then. They're not catering that to me. They're catering it to you that's playing the game all the time and just doing something else every 2 weeks. Cool. Right. Thank you.
All right, I want to talk about Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto Online, but first I want to tell you guys about Audible. I want to hook you guys up with a free audiobook and a free 30-day trial. All you got to do is go over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Got to use the URL just as you see it on the screen. Hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. I'm still in my book. Check it out.
I tried to proceed carefully, as if I had no idea what to expect. Avoiding the sphere of annihilation located at the end of the corridor, I located a hidden door beside the last pit trap. It opened into a small, sloping passageway. My flashlight reached into the darkness ahead, flickering off the damp stone walls. My surroundings made me feel like I was in a low-budget sword and sorcery flick, like Hawk the Slayer or the Beastmaster. I began to make my way through the dungeon, room by room. Even though I knew where all of the traps were located, I still had to proceed carefully to avoid them all. In a dark, forbidding chamber known as the Chapel of Evil, I found thousands of gold and silver coins hidden in the pews, right where they were supposed to be.
Everybody's getting caught up in it. I'm like, I just keep listening to this. Jason, have you checked this one out yet?
The narrator's got to be like, what the hell am I reading?
That's Will Wheaton. He knows what he's reading. Come on.
Oh, it was Will Wheaton? Okay, all right.
It
okay,
is.
sure. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that is Ready Player One, written by Ernest Cline, narrated by Will Wheaton. Look at the rating on that. 4.7, 6,900, almost going to break 7,000 pretty soon. 6,900 ratings, which is crazy. It is an awesome book, one that I highly, highly, highly recommend to everybody watching this show. You guys are MMO players, you're gamers. You're going to love this book. There's so many cool like video game references and old 80s like pop culture references and stuff like that.
I felt like I was in a bad B-budget fantasy movie, like Beastmaster.
He just referenced Beastmaster. How do you know? Exactly. I'm telling you, it's a great, great, great book. Go check it out. Go to audible.com/gamebreaker, make an account, download the application. You put your app on your iPhone or your Android, whatever you got, and you can start downloading a book tonight, and highly recommend Ready Player One. Just go to audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, so Rockstar announced the Grand Theft Auto Online this week. We heard about this. It was teased at the end of a GTA 5 trailer. We were all pretty confident that it was just going to be sort of regular multiplayer. Well, we've got this quote. I guess I only have to read the first part of the sentence here. Let me just go to this. Grand Theft Auto Online is a dynamic and persistent online world for 16 players that begins by sharing gameplay features, geography, and mechanics with Grand Theft Auto 5, but will continue to expand and evolve after its launch with new content created by Rockstar Games and the Grand Theft Auto community. Grand Theft Auto Online takes the fundamental Grand Theft Auto concepts of freedom, ambient activity, and mission-based gameplay and makes them available to multiple players in an incredibly detailed and responsive world. So, still not, I guess, what we would consider on the show an MMO then. But again, is this starting to push into this whole new space of these like gray area games of we don't know if they're online, but are they MMOs? Are they not? And Destiny and Division and Grand Theft Auto and I don't know. They said the words dynamic and persistent. Those are big buzzwords. So I'm buying it. I'm buying it. What do you think? We love those words.
That first letter is just killing us all. The M, the massively part. I think the population shouldn't be as big an issue. I think that it being the persistent aspect of it is a lot more important. So in that way, I do kind of think of this as a MMO, multiplayer online, whatever, large-scale multiplayer online role-playing game, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, stuff like this, like Division, like DayZ, that sort of thing. I kind of want to put those in the same kind of grouping as opposed to like arena or instance-based kind of stuff.
God, we're going to need another website and another show like called something else. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I don't know. People are on the fence. I'm watching chat room and they're like, it's online, it's not an MMO, but like you said, I think we don't know specifics of how like persistent and dynamic this world will be, but persistence is a big part of MMO, right? Like, of course, the number of people, we know it's going to be limited to 16, but I don't know. Bern, I know Bern's he's making FA. I could tell he's already like, this is not an MMO. Nope, it's not an MMO.
Welcome to this week in you and 15 of your closest friends in gaming. No, come on. Just persistent, to me, persistent. You know what? I'm not even going to start the whole MMO argument. We've had that argument many times on this show. What's an MMO? What isn't? Persistent, dynamic do not equate to MMO. MMO is player-based size, and 16 ain't cutting it in my book. Sorry, that's it. I'm done.
So 17. 17
would have done it.
No. No, there's another game coming out. Q was talking about today, where they were talking about having 64 players on their server, and they were billing it as an MMO. I said, no, that's how many squares are on a chessboard. That's not massive. I can visually see 64. I can visually determine 64. That's not massive.
So how many does it take?
About 219, because 218 is I can still visually count that pretty quickly. 219 is when I start to lose it.
Oh, seriously though, what's the limit? Okay, I get 16 maybe. But
okay, what's the limit on when something has massive amount of weight? Just take the word massive for a minute. That's it. Is your car a massive amount of weight, or is it just a lot of weight? I mean, we are going to have different definitions, but I think we all agree that 16 ain't freaking it. Come on. Let's not be stupid about this. 16 ain't it. My N64 had games that supported 16 players.
See, I guess, I mean, I see that part of it, though, the flip side of the argument is just like, the number of players doesn't matter. It's like a give and take of what you really kind of look at as being really important to MMOs. It's like, is it the number of players that are in the world, or is it the persistence and the longevity of how the world is interacted with and stuff like that? Because I don't know. I think a lot of players probably only, there are guilds obviously that have lots of people in them, but there's probably a lot of people who only play with like 10 people. So what's the difference if they're playing with their 10 people in a world like this, or there's other people running around or not? I don't know. It really depends. I mean, I don't see, they say it's going to be dynamic and persistent. We don't really have a ton of information. I don't see this being like a full-fledged MMO feeling at all like that. So, but that's my gut. I mean, it sounds fun. It's going to be free bundled with Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't know. You think they were just repackaging multiplayer to some extent with some added features, and by basically adding MMO connotations around it to kind of speak to that crowd?
A little bit. I mean, they showed off a lot of interesting stuff, and I don't know really on the GTA. I didn't play GTA 4, so I don't know how much the online aspect of that was. But yeah, it seems like they're trying to add, I guess, MMO-like features in terms of the open world and like PvP instances and so on, all the customization. That's kind of what they're going for, at least.
I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm probably more excited still about Grand Theft Auto offline than online, but I don't know if they do it really well. 16-player Grand Theft Auto could be kind of fun. I mean, I like smaller co-op games as well, but they are different. I agree. They're probably not MMOs. We probably won't be covering it much in here, but man, like I'm playing like Payday, like 4-player co-op and Payday. It's so much fun. But again, I wouldn't call that. But that has no dynamic or persistence to it, right? You're going into a map. There's a map. There's an objective, and it's an instance you're doing. That's what I'm saying. Like this being an open world, if it really truly is persistent, it truly is dynamic. If I can truly kind of like progress, have a character progression and things like that, that could be actually kind of cool. I don't know.
Haven't we talked about Cube World on this show? What's the limit on the Cube World server?
What's the limit? I haven't checked. Last I checked, it was changing all the time because the actual release was really small, and then people were like,
it's not an MMO. We can't talk about it anymore.
No, but it's like, I don't know what it's at. Chat room will tell you maybe it was like 16, 10. Servers were crashing at around 10. But everybody's like hacking and working on code, so that's tell you thing. All right, I'm gonna move on. Massively. Spoke to XL Games Jake Song about the newly announced Civilization Online. Anyone here a fan of the Civ series? Anyone? Both big Civ fans?
Been playing a lot since I got the expansion, the Steam Summer Sale.
So, Civ Online, I mean, it sounds kind of interesting. I'm not sure. I'm actually curious to see how both of you guys being MMO players and Civ fans are going to react to this. So, I don't know how Civ fans are going to react to this, but it's definitely not a turn-based strategy game. That's for sure. You play one character, one avatar within a civilization. So, you make your character, you pick a world, you join a civilization, and there's a bunch of other player-run civilizations in that world. And then from there, each civilization tries to come out on top, and once there's a winner, basically the session ends. So I guess unlike most MMOs, endgame actually means endgame, because it's going to end. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Your character will persist. This is the other interesting thing, is your character will persist after the session has ended, and some of the traits will be carried forward into your next game. I mean, it's unclear, I think, what that means or how that actually works. But is that enough to make this an MMO?
I don't know. How many players can you have? Seriously.
217.
No, that's not. Okay.
No, 219. Then we got
218,
something.
There's
I'm
another.
intrigued by this actually. I'm really intrigued by this game.
There's another game, an MMO called MMO, I think, called A Tale in the Desert. This little indie thing that is kind of has the same thing. I don't remember exactly what it's about. It's like an Egyptian kind of thing, and you're supposed to be building monuments or whatever. And it also does end once you get to the greatest monument or whatever it is. And they're on like their 8th iteration, and it ends, starts over, and they go through it all over again. So obviously, it's kind of a small, really indie thing. It's not mainstream. So can this same concept be applied to a potentially bigger property?
Bern,
I believe
what do you
it
think?
can.
I mean, it's not like a 45-minute League of Legends match that like resets afterwards. Right? I mean,
No, it sounds like something more substantial, like Heroes and Generals is a World War II like first-person shooting type game that there's a persistent war that's going on for weeks, so you could jump in and play a few battles and then jump out. And this sounds like that type of thing where there's a bigger events going on for longer periods of time. I'm really, really intrigued by this. I do like Civ. I know Jason plays a ton of it because it's all over his damn Twitter. He's challenging somebody every day. But I'm really intrigued by this. Whether it's massive or not, I don't care. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
So just to give you an idea of the gameplay. So in a regular Civ game, you build a library with a click of a button. But in Civilization Online, it's going to basically be that you and the rest of the people around have to gather the resources and actually get the building up. Like that's going to be sort of part of the game. So it sounds like it's sandbox all the way up to player-built cities in the game,
which can declare war on each other, I suppose.
We don't know, but I would assume so. And the player cities obviously are probably going to go away once the session's over. I don't know. What do you think?
Someone in chat is saying that he thinks the sessions are 2 weeks, which I guess sounds about right, because what you don't want to have is you join the Egyptian faction and the Egyptians are just screwed right from the start, so you have to sit with them for 3 months before you can move on to something else. Nobody wants to stay with the losing team that long, so I guess that makes sense, even though it seems kind of short.
Well, it's 2 weeks, and after 24 hours, we've built ourselves into a famine. Awesome. This is going to be a great 2 weeks, gang.
Can't wait to stick it out. It seems like there's a political factor to the game as well. They say there's going to be roles like mayors and commanders being necessary. And on top of that, obviously, I think crafting is going to be a huge, big deal in this game. So it sounds like both of you, Jason, are you as intrigued as Mr. Byrne?
Yeah, definitely. I would want to check this out, if only I could.
Yes, that is the bad news right now, is that there are no plans for a release outside of Korea. Trollololol. Why? What do you think? I mean, Civ is pretty damn popular here in the West. So
it's made by an American company. Sid Meier's American. Do you think that would be something that would be?
I mean, the only thing I can think of, they say there's currently no plans, and that just means like, hey, we just haven't found a publisher yet.
Which could be. That was the issue that XL had with Archage for a long time until they got Tryon. So yeah, could be.
Oh, that seems to be working out. Have we seen any of the news lately about Tryon?
Did anybody left work in there? Ooh.
There's some pretty. I'm sorry, that's sidetracked. Not only closing offices, but there are some pretty prominent faces that have now mysteriously, all of a sudden, not been working there anymore. And
there's some mysterious faces coming back to work there. It sounds like they're in a big shakeup. I mean, it sounds like a really
they're in a huge shakeup right now.
Yeah, which sometimes, hey, companies got to do what they got to do, right? They got to probably like restructure a lot of stuff, and some things didn't go as planned, and now it's like, all right, from bottom up.
The one there's one that's really surprising. I mean, Scott coming back, I think, is ultimately a good thing. In the long run, and we've talked about this one offline too, where we think that that's good long term. But I mean, there's been pretty prominent faces like Elrar. Wow, what happened there? Why?
Yeah, but we don't know. What do we know? I mean,
I'm speculating. I just think maybe they didn't make some right decisions. That's all. And I love them as a company. You know that. I just don't know what they're doing right now.
All right, so I'm going to move on and talk about Black Gold. First, I want to tell you guys about Shutterstock. That's right. I want to save you guys 30% off on your Shutterstock account. If you guys have a YouTube page or a website, a guild site, you want to spruce it up, maybe you got a video project, you're looking for some stock footage, photography, vector, artwork, clips, caricatures. What do you need? You got to go over and check out Shutterstock. Now, you can go over and make a free account. You don't even have to sign up today. Go over and make a free account. You can start searching for stuff and saving different things, putting them in light boxes and stuff like that, so you can save it for another date. I'll just show you this thing here. So if you guys know, we have a website called freetoplay.tv. It's a site where you can go find free-to-play MMOs and check out the reviews and stuff like that. This was actually the first site we launched after Gamebreaker, when we started thinking about separate sites and weren't sure what to do with the logo. We didn't want to get away from the Gamebreaker logo, but we wanted something to sort of differentiate it, which is like a modifier. So we were looking for like a logo modifier, and came up with this little guy. I don't know, I kind of thought he like represented like every man who's a player, maybe works during the day, but he's a superhero at night. That's what it said to me anyway. It really did. I'm not joking. That's what I kind of felt that means. Anyway, it would have probably taken me weeks to come up with some concepts and try and figure something out with an artist. And I immediately went to Shutterstock and started searching vector logos. That's what I searched for on this one. And boom, look what I found. Found this guy, and I thought he'd be perfect for it. And that's what we used for our logo modifier. So that's just one example of, like, there's so many. If you look at Gamebreaker and all the new sites, you're going to see tons of little details and icons and things all over the place. They're all from Shutterstock. That's where we get almost all of our graphic design work from. So check it on out. Like I said, you can make a free account. And then if you guys decide to sign up and you want to start downloading some of that artwork, all you got to do is use promo code GameBreaker8, and you're going to immediately save 30% off on your account, which is an awesome deal. But like I said, YouTube channel, perfect place to get that thing looking good. Your website, your guild site, all that stuff. Just tons of stuff over there. Just go start searching. I'm sure you're going to find some stuff that's going to blow you away. All right, a few shows ago, we spoke about a game called Black Gold. Burns already snickering.
Speaking of not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Wouch.
Whoa.
We talked about a game called Black Gold, and we were talking about their business model. There was no subscription to the game. There's no cash shop to the game. Well, we now have some details about how it's going to work. I think it's easier to just read this official quote than try and explain it, so I'll just do that. It said Black Gold's on the Black Gold Online's file save mode will record your playtime data, showing all materials and equipment looted in that specific time frame. Players will be given a choice to purchase that specific save if you wish to acquire all of those items. This system aims only at paying for rare materials and high-level equipments. Basic materials and equipments can be looted immediately without purchase. Player progression in terms of experience and PvP rank, for example, will remain even if you do not pay for the save. They're literally calling it the optional time-based file save model. Open quote, optional time-based file save model, close quote. That's probably not the
optional.
catchiest of
We're giving
terms.
you the option. This is all for you, the player. For you.
It's a very catchy title.
Rolls right off the tongue.
I can't even remember it. I just said it twice. I can't remember what I even said.
Optional.
Optional was in it somewhere.
Optional.
Well, it does clear things up for me. Now I know that it is completely pay to win. So you can get the crappy stuff for free, but you want the good gear, you're gonna have to pay for it. So glad to clear that up.
Thanks for clearing that up.
So if it's optional, is there one that's forced?
You must take this loot.
You can have the shit, but you must pay for the good stuff. I'm at a loss for words. Is this going? So they're talking about this being in relation to the Chinese launch. They say it will most likely be reflected in the West as well. with that, I say good luck. I say good luck. I don't know. I mean, do you think that this is so? You can't deny this is innovative. That's for sure.
True.
Is this going to work in China? I don't know. I don't know the culture well enough to like know if this would work there. But I can tell you one thing: you can have Game Breaker if it works here. Like I'll give you everything. If it works in the West, you can have the company, right? Like I mean, because it's never going to work here. This is never going to work.
And when you read the quote, you still don't exactly understand what they're even trying to do here. And chat was busting me up and saying shots fired when I said not knowing what the hell they're doing. I meant I did not understand what the hell they were doing, not that they do. But clearly maybe they don't either based on this. And so maybe it is shot fired and it wasn't intended that way. Even the example that they give in the press release doesn't really clear things up all that much. It tries to explain the whole saved time, and then you can use credits, which you bought with money, to either purchase this save file or this save file. It was very bizarre. And basically it boiled down to, I'm going to try and get this right, and you guys can correct me if I'm misunderstanding this. It boiled down to if you set it to save every hour, you'll play for an hour, and it will lock in the loot that you got that hour. Mm-hmm. It'll keep it on a page somewhere. In the second hour that you play, let's say you want to end early, you're going to log off, or there was a drop that you really want, so you need to cash out now. Mm-hmm. So you stop that. Now you have two save files. One's an hour and one's maybe 45 minutes. And in that hour one, you got a bunch of regular crap and maybe one rare weapon. And in the second one, you got a rare chest piece and a bunch of regular crap. Well, you get your regular crap, no problem. But now you have to decide if you want to use credits, which you earned by giving them cash, to unlock the items that are in those two save files and acquire the items to your character. That's the only way you can get them. But we're gonna give you one other option. We're gonna give you a button that if you want to, you can press, and maybe it will cost less to get those items that you want, or free. Who knows? It's a crapshoot. Have fun. How does this work?
What do you mean by crapshoot? No, I'm also you're saying like, what do you mean it's a crapshoot? Because how I see it is that basically like you have maybe an hour thing. At the end of the hour, it's going to say, hey, this is all the loot you acquired in the hour. Click the button if you want to buy all this loot. If you click the button, you get it. If you click decline, I'm guessing that loot probably goes away, and you don't have that option anymore. That's true. You just move on, and then you just move on.
But they're giving you two accept buttons though. One is just, Gary, pay $10 and we will give you this. And I'm making the dollar amount up. Don't quote me on that. But Gary, give us $10, we'll give you the rare gun that you acquired in the last hour.
And the other one is a random roll?
The other one is kind of, well, you could hit this accept button instead. And maybe it'll cost you $10 to get it. Maybe it'll cost you $8 if you get lucky. Maybe we'll even give it to you for free. Now, the only reason I can...
You actually don't know the cost of... So it's...
That's the crapshoot moment. And the only reason I can see them doing this, which they don't specify on their site, so I'm just guessing here, the only reason I can see them implementing this lucky option is because it'll cost a couple more credits to do it, right? If it costs you 5 credits to just take the items, or if you want to take a chance and give me 6 credits...
Oh, here's
maybe
the lucky
it'll cost
draw.
you less. That's the gambling aspect.
You're jumping ahead. All right, so the lucky draw system says there will be 2 separate buttons. You can buy the save directly, or select try your luck to have a chance at reducing the credits required, or even obtain loots without any cost. This is a fun little option to maximize player benefits.
It's fun. Right? It maximizes your benefits.
Gambling. Gambling. We love gambling.
We're doing it all for you, Gary. All of it. For you.
But you notice the big thing they have up top there in red, but you read it here. No subscription, no cash shop.
Yeah, I would rather have a cash shop that had all of the equipment in it. Every single piece of equipment. Because this is... eventually, doesn't this lead to, if you invest time in it, okay, fine, at the beginning of the game, it's great. You don't have to spend any money, and everybody's on the same playing field. Great. Fantastic. Doesn't matter. But doesn't this, for the people that invest time in the game or plan to, doesn't this eventually lead to a point where you are stuck? You cannot progress any further until you get the lucky drop you need, and then you pay to keep it. Wouldn't it cap at a certain point where you just can't do anything without better gear, and the only way to get better gear is to buy it?
I'm sure
I would almost rather have a cash shop that just had all the damn things in it and was like, we are pay to win, have fun, than this.
That's what this is.
We don't have a cash shop. We don't have a subscription. That's what they're trying to tell you and sell you, and it's completely not true. Yeah, they're insane. They're insane. Maybe this will work in China. I don't know. I just don't know the culture there well enough. I'm sure some people will play it. Good luck with that.
And maybe there's pieces we're missing they haven't announced yet about other ways to potentially acquire these. We're going on what we have right now, and I hate it.
Probably get a little bit better at their PR then and kind of market that message properly, because this is just... Yeah,
I'm sure they'll update their website quickly and efficiently.
Let me just click that get lucky button, baby.
Get lucky. Everybody get lucky. Michael Byrne. Follow him on Twitter at MagicMan, MIGICKMANN1 at MagicMan1. And of course, he is one of the hosts over on XIV Reborn, the Final Fantasy XIV show at xivnation.com. So go check that out there for all you Final Fantasy fans. Mr. Jason Burrell, free to play. Yeah, how many things you want to plug? We got like 9,000 things. Free to play.tv. You want to do that one too? All right. We're also starting a community cast so we can stop plugging all the new stuff in Game Breaker, so look for that. There you go. Jason Winter. Follow him on Twitter at Winter Informal.
And buy up those old boxes of 24 TCG.
Do it. Winter Informal. Follow him on the Twitter. You can follow me at Gary Gannon. Follow Gamebreaker TV, gamebreaker.tv, freetoplay.tv, xivnation.com, or TV. Let's see, Burn. What else can we rattle off here?
Yeah, go for a few more minutes so Burn can't get back to 14.
Yeah, he's dying to just get back into playing 14. Forum. Yeah, I'll do those. All right,
have a great week. Forums.
Smite forums. Launch those. Teaser. The next 4 coming are EQ next, Hearth,
Stone.
I can't remember now. Maybe Guild Wars 2.
Somebody asked if Gary was going to own 100 domains sometime soon, and I asked why. Is he selling some? He's got domains for everything.
I have 164 domains I checked today.
Which is not enough to make an MMO.
No, it's not. Yeah.
That was
Have a great week. We'll see you next week for
callback.
some more This Week in MMO. Have a great week, guys.